Good morning everyone and welcome to today's video. Today we are heading to the biggest Grand Prix weekend of the calendar year.
By this being the season's most thrilling Grand Prix weekend, it is featuring some top racing series and even Lamborghini's 60th anniversary celebration. So make sure to watch the full video for epic on-track action and even some crashes. Jumping straight into things, these were the cars in the parking lot. Arriving here are some of the Lamborghinis for the 60th anniversary and cars are already pulling up. Listen to this Porsche. This Super GT car is sounding more like a lawnmower than an actual race car. Now you see TV is ready and the cars is also getting ready to pull out on track for the first race of the day. This is Danish Endurance Championship. We unfortunately missed the start, but this is a 1 hour endurance race with a whole bunch of different cars, as you can see right here. Even a Lamborghini right here, it sounded amazing. And here we go. Going 3 wide into turn 3 and the Porsche is ahead. Now we moved on to the next corner. This is where we were the most of the day. As you can see, the entire infield here. This Citroen was absolutely crazy and sometimes even kept up with a Lamborghini, believe it or not. This is the Lamborghini I'm talking about. But the owner of this car was not going full out. Up the inside, clean move. One of the absolute best sounding cars there was the Porsche GT3R, and we have a car going off. Actually, I think it was just an engine failure on this per show. So, safety car came out and they couldn't quite decide if they should stay behind or not. At the end, this crossbow just decides to move on. And we have a spinner. But he manages to get himself out and no more trouble there. And we have a Porsche who spins. You can just see his tire marks, how he spun off track there. No need for the marshal anyway, the Porsche got himself going again and back into the race. Now we're on to warm-up. This is warm-up for TCR and Super GT. This wasn't racing, it was just them going out on track, warming up, just like a practice session. Moving on to Special Saloon. This was a bunch of very awesome cars. As you can see, lots of Lamborghinis. I mentioned it was Lamborghini's 60th anniversary celebration. A prototype car here, it's like an Aquila, Renault, more Lamborghinis, Porsche 911 GT3 RS and a 911 GT1 and a BMW V10 Set 4. This car was also supposed to drive but never managed to get around track. Now for the first lap, you can see the leader has already pulled a massive gap and the cars behind going around. These were definitely the coolest, loudest and most expensive cars there. An awesome field of cars. Listen to the blow-off valve on this. As you can see now, the leader has already pulled a massive gap. This is just a few laps into the race. And just look at the gap he's pulled to second place. The leader even managed to set a new track record on this track, which was amazing. He had so much speed, and here comes second place and the rest of the field. But as you can see, they were close and battling, looking for a move there, but it wasn't quite this time around. Now you can see the leader coming out to this V10 Set 4 BMW, almost lapping him. You get the blue flag there. Wasn't this time around, but you can see he was very close. Again, looking for a move. This is the midfield, number 2 and down. Number 1 was in a class of his own. And the Renault here, it spins off the track. As the Aquila finally gets the move done, the Lamborghini follows through and there's contact. Expensive contact there. You can see the Aquila putting a bit of a gap, the Lamborghini's fighting between themselves. Does he go for the move this time around? He looks for it, but it's not quite there. Here you can see number 1 lapping the GT1 Porsche. And that was this for this round of special saloon cars. Let's see what's coming up next. This is TCR, Danish Touring Car Championship, and off goes the cars. A bit of contact there, but it's front wheel drive, so he just straightened it up, shoot and go. The two first cars here, the one in number 2, the black and white car, is fighting for the championship, and by the weekend he actually managed to move up to the front of the championship. Again, same car involved in contact, sliding around the corner. As you can see, the cars are starting to get a little bit spread out. This is the front of the field again. As you can see, number 1 has pulled a bit of a gap to number 2 here. And here comes the rest of the field. A few battles in the field, but also some more spread out. Now, this was all for TCR. You could definitely feel these were more professional guys, as there were less action and crashes. Now, moving on to Super GT V6. These cars sounded awesome as well. Now, here we go, off on lap 1. Someone lugging up the brake there. This was very close. And a guy going around slowly there as he went off into turn 1. He actually got a little bit of damage, as you'll see later. A little bit of switchback move, great move there as the cars are coming around for the second time. These guys were also starting to spread out now as the laps go on. Now notice these two cars as they crash on the next lap. Here is some footage my brother took. He just managed to brake a little late and hit the other car. Let's see it again here. He spins off, but both cars managed to get going again, so no harm there. But yeah, the field was spreading a bit more out here. The battles weren't as close. This was the car who got damaged on turn 1. You could hear his front lip flapping into the ground. Now these two guys back together again after the crash, but they managed to keep it somewhat clean again here, looking for a move. Now moving on to this class called Young Timers. It is older cars, mostly BMWs. This was the front runner. He was very fast. This class is divided up into 3 different groups. This Mini Cooper was definitely one of my favorites, as well as this Porsche right here. It had a beautiful livery in my opinion. There were though some action still. This guy going for a switchback move. Worked out great for him, and almost 3 wide here considering it, but they managed to do it cleanly. This was the only sort of lapping there was because of the slower cars and faster cars. Now moving on to legend cars, let's see them going into the turn. And there's an accident. Oh no, it's a bit of a weird accident. These cars have front bumpers that protrude out from the car, and they managed to intertwine and get stuck here. So you can see one car is stuck on top of the other. One of the drivers get out. He think he might be able to fix it, but the damage is more extensive than that. So here comes the crew. See, he's trying to pull his car from the other car, but it doesn't work like that. Unfortunately, they are quite stuck. And oh no, the other driver is still trying to get loose. This reminds me of the Lewis Hamilton and Verstappen accident in Monza a few years back. Now here comes the real help. This is really doing the difference, this little Toyota. Here comes the rest of the field behind the safety car. They had to bring out the heavy machinery to try and pull them from each other. They were really struggling to do this. It took a solid few minutes. But in the end they managed to get them from each other. And this guy just want them gone. At the end they could manage to drive off by themselves, and the race could get back underway. This was one of the biggest fields with the most cars in it, and they were also some of the most exciting as they're so fun, nimble cars. Everyone made it safely through the second time around. Now here they come again. Let's see if there's anything to note here. This is sort of the front field. And these were the guys coming afterwards. Here comes the front again. These two cars were battling it out. And then there was these cars afterwards. The front two runners coming around again. You can see them fighting and putting a bit of a gap to the next field. This red car in front is going to join the rest of them later as he has some pace on him as well. Oh no, the pink car spins here. But don't worry, he has lots of experience doing donuts, as you will see later, so he drifts us out on the grass and manages to get back into the race. Two front runners coming past again. Break. No, he just loses it and has to go for a little bit of a donut as well, but nothing he can't fix, and he'll back on the track again. Two front runners still battling it out. They had an exciting battle as well. And you can see the red car here starting to join the second group here. And this green car just decides not to brake, so he takes it off-roading. Still manages to keep it going, but he does get overtaken. Here are the front runners lapping a slow car. And the red car has now joined the group in second place, fighting for number 2. And we have a car going slowly. That didn't sound too great, but he manages to pull off the track, and nothing needed to be done there. No safety car or yellow flag, so everything was alright. Number 2 was looking for a move there, but it didn't materialize to anything. Now this was it over. This is the cool down lap. You see my little brother doing signs for a donut here. And we get what we want. Now this was a very cool part of the day. They opened the track for all the spectators to go out on the track. Some of the cars and drivers pull up and you got to go around and look at them. It was very cool to be on the track. You can see all the rubber marbles. The curves were something I was impressed by. They were a lot larger than I thought. Here are some of the touring cars or TCR cars, some of the main events. The TV was also out doing some interviews in this time, and this was the car I got to sit in, as you would have seen on my YouTube shorts. This is me crossing the finish line.
Get in there, Lewis. That's P1, mate.
Some of the cars getting ready to go against, as here is TCR for the second time around. We unfortunately missed the start, but this time around there weren't so much action. Here we have the front runner. They did a reverse grid for the second heat as far as I know. And the fight for second place. But yeah, as I said, nothing much happened in that heat, so on to DS3 Cup, and here they go for the first lap. These cars are Citroen DS3s, all the same make. Listen to the blow-off valves on these cars. They sounded crazy, and as you could hear over the speaker, if you could understand Danish, 2 cars went off in turn 1. A bit of movement on the brake in there, and the move unfortunately doesn't stick. Here is another part of the track where you can hear the cars close up. These weren't the most exciting cars either, so here we have TCR for the third and last heat of the day. Coming around the second time, car number 2 and 3 over there side by side. He pushes him wide, but they just managed to get around. This was a bit of a chaotic race as the start had some trouble with the lights, so the order was completely confused. And the car in number 1 right now had to go through the penalty lane twice because he jumped the start. So now you see this is the real order, and the car in number 2 here, it is important for him he gets a good position because this has championship meaning for him. But as I said earlier, his position managed to get him into the number 1 position of the championship. Here they go around again, number 1 and number 2, they pull a massive lead to the rest of the cars. Here they come around again, same cars. Here comes the rest of the field. You could definitely feel they were more professional drivers as there weren't as many cents into the corners. This special Saloon coming around again, listen to this. They sounded awesome. Unfortunately, nothing really happened much in that race, so we're moving on to Super GT V6, the second to last race of the day. This was them coming around on their first lap. Unfortunately, there wasn't much action in this race either, so it will be just a short segment of these guys. As you can see, they quickly found themselves into a line and got a little bit spread out here. This was the guy in first. He managed to pull a big gap already. As you can see, here comes second place already. Again, number 1 and number 2 here. So he managed to pull a big gap. There was a little bit of action here. A guy doing a great switchback move. And I think at the end he actually got it. Now there was also a class called Super GT 2 liters. Well, number 1 just manages to drive number 2 completely off the track almost. They managed to keep it together though. These were the same sort of cars as just before, as the guy sends it up to the inside. And he sticks it. Great move. But just with a 2-liter engine. Here are the V6, just listen to them. Most of the teams were packing up now as it was towards the end of the day. But let me show you some of the Lamborghinis that were there. Here we have a 350 GT, a very rare car. Lamborghini Gallardo in the parking lot. And an Aventador pulling off. These were the cars from the front, a Hurricane, Evo, Urus and a SVJ. This was pretty much the end of the day. The drivers got their trophies and some champagne. And this is also where I'll be rounding off the video, so I hope you did enjoy and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.